Well, you're signed to Lance Rivera for entertainment. And, there was rumors, and I'm going to lead into this part of the story, that the two of you were romantic. Is there any truth in that?
No.
None at all?
No.
Okay. So December of 1999, Jay-Z is about to drop his album, Life and Times of S. Carter, Volume 3. And the album ends up leaking. And it's all over the place. Jay-Z is stressed out over the situation. And there's rumors about who's behind the leak and so forth. And allegedly there's a name that keeps coming up in these rumors, and that's Lance. Which by the way is not confirmed on any level. And I interviewed Lance, and he said that was a crazy concept, which I agree with, because Lance was not in the bootleg business at the time or ever. So they ended up going to a party themselves, and then they ended up going to Q-Tip's party.
Right.
And when they walked to that party, there was a lot of people there. There was Puffy, there was Lil' Kim, there was C's, there was Busta Rhymes, there was, of course, Q-Tip. And Jay-Z saw Lance Rivera and his brother there. And this is where the story gets a little bit fuzzy. Jay-Z has one version. I interviewed Lance. He gave another version. According to Lance, he was surrounded by Jay-Z and some of his people. Jay-Z said, "You broke my heart." And then one of his people hit him in the head and then stabbed him up. He claims that Jay-Z never actually stabbed him.
He's saying that now, you mean?
Now
he wasn't saying that then.
Okay, and I'll get to that. I'll get to that in a second.
All right.
Okay? So in my interview with Lance said that Jay-Z did not stab him.
Jay, bunch of us is in there. I ended up getting surrounded by a bunch of people. It was probably 10 knives that I knew of. And I ended up getting stabbed at the Kit Kat Club.
Was Jay-Z the one that actually stabbed you?
No. Jay-Z was not the guy who actually stabbed me that night.
But Jay-Z was there when you got stabbed? Actually in front of you when you got stabbed?
It was like, me and Jay-Z had a conversation while, right before I got hit in the head with a champagne bottle. And it was a brief conversation, and I was looking at him like, "What are you talking about? And you fucking the money up right now."
Well, what did he tell you?
He just kept saying, "You broke my heart. You broke my heart." And I'm like, "What are you talking about? Like, you're bucking right now, bro. You getting ready to fuck up everything." And, and I don't know where people got Jay-Z stabbed me from, because if anybody knows Jay-Z, Jay-Z's a nice guy.
Now, in that same interview, I brought up Chris Gotti's version of this story. Now, Chris Gotti was right there when it happened.
Right.
He said that he saw the confrontation. He saw Jay-Z stab Lance. Lance dropped. And Chris said that he took the knife from Jay, put him in his car, and got him out of there. And he also said him and Lance don't have any issues. He doesn't have any beef with Lance. He just happened to be there, and this was the situation. Now.
Okay.
You go to that party.
Yes.
After all the commotion happened.
Right. I walk in as everyone's running out. So I see, all of everybody in hip hop, literally, because it was that crowded, running out. I see Jay, I see Eve, I see all kinds of people, but they're everybody's just, in a panic. And I'm walking in and I'm not really knowing what's going on because I got there late. It was me and two of my girlfriends, and we had been drinking. So we're kind of laxy-dazzle with it, just walking through, what the hell's going on? It cleared out so fast that by the time I walked towards the back, and mind you, I didn't know where Un was. I didn't know where anybody was. I was just like coming to the party. I actually walked up and Un was on the ground. And I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm stabbed. Jay stabbed me. So I'm like, what? And he's like, Jay-Z stabbed me. And I'm like, what are you saying? Like, I'm like, stop saying that pretty much. Like, what are you saying? Like, I just didn't think he knew what he was saying. I didn't know if he was stabbed. If I'm not mistaken, he had on like this, either had on like some sort of big coat or big like shirt to the point where I didn't see any blood or anything. So I'm really not knowing what's going on. But by the time I, look up, it's nobody else in the club. It's literally just me and my 2 girlfriends and Un, and maybe like, some people that worked at the club or whatever. And he's, laying there, and he kept saying it. So the police come and they take us all in for questioning. Once they got us in for questioning, by my girlfriends and I being drunk, they made us go in a cell and basically like take a nap. Because we wouldn't have been of any use to try to interview at that point. And then once the interview was over, they're asking me what happened. And I'm like, I don't know. I walked in and he was, on the ground like this. So like, I didn't see anything. I don't know what happened. So, I'm basically just going off of what Un was saying at the time. But then fast forward to whenever you're saying you interviewed Un, now he's saying that Jay-Z didn't stab him. So I'm assuming this is a recent interview.
A few months ago, yeah.
So I don't know. My whole point in that is you waited all this time to clarify that?
Yeah, I don't know. It's a fuzzy story. Like I said, the story he told me doesn't coincide with your story or Chris Gotti's story. Or Jay-Z had his own version of the events also that basically said that he stabbed him.
Right.
Also in his book, Decoded. So,
I mean, if you want my opinion, I don't think Jay stabbed Un. That's just my opinion. I didn't see anybody stab anybody. I just saw the aftermath. So I don't know. I don't know. Like, the story gets crazier. It's just like unsolved mysteries or something. I have no clue. I just know what he told me, and and he kept saying it. I mean, that's all he was saying. He wasn't saying I'm hurting. He just kept saying it over and over and over again. And I'm like, stop saying that. Like, just be quiet. Like, relax. Like, I've never been stabbed, so I don't know. I can't even imagine, what type of emotions or trauma or pain he was in. And, I don't know. It was just, it's just weird. Because for him to say, all this time later, okay, well, no, he didn't stab me. And I'm like, so that happened in what, like 2000?
mm-hmm.
Okay, and it's 2023. Like, I just kind of feel like if you knew that, you kind of should have rectified that a long time ago.